So welcome, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another eFootball video. Today we're going to be discussing some more news in an article that's come out, and there are some interesting points to touch upon. Alright, we're going to be covering all the news, so make sure you are letting me know if there's anything that's come out. I like to at least let you guys know. Some of you guys don't go on Twitter, you don't know what's going on, so if I put it in a concise video, it makes it easier, and we want to stay up to date. Don't worry, though. Master League will be back tomorrow, right? The Europa League final. We're going to dive into it. We're going to finish it off. But I do want to discuss a few things as well. So I'm going to need your input for tomorrow's video, folks. So stay tuned for it. Right, let's dive into this. So the first thing to know, this is from The Loadout. Now, I don't know how trusted this is, but it seems legit. So, eFootball will have haptics and adaptive trigger support on the PS5. Now, that's a big sort of title to put out straight off the bat. I was a little bit concerned about that. Like, obviously, FIFA uses it quite well. How is eFootball going to use it? And there's the confirmation right off the bat. So, let's scroll down and dive into a little bit more details, right? So, one of the most ambitious parts of Konami's revamped football game, eFootball, is the plan to create a single gameplay experience that is fully cross-platform with consoles, PC, and mobile devices. As we know, to achieve this, Konami has made the decision to shift to the Unreal Engine. Yes, they have. Right, so I'm going to just go through this. There are some good and bad points, and I'm going to discuss of why I feel that way, as I normally do. So, while the developer has confirmed to IGN already that the game will still be built for consoles first, remember, they are building it on console, and then they downscale it onto the mobile, and then scale down to suit mobile devices. Many questions have been raised over whether this will compromise the experience on top-end PCs and next-gen consoles. Well, yes, big concern of ours. Konami has reassured fans that graphics and performance will not suffer to facilitate mobile players, and that eFootball will take full advantage of the hardware capabilities of each supported device. Right, I've already been through all that. The producer, Shinichiro Kimura, confirms to The Loadout that this means eFootball on the PS5 will support haptic feedback and adaptive triggers on the DualSense controller. So there we go. The only thing about this, though, is, are you going to use this online? You know, obviously you should have an option to turn it on and off. I don't know if there will be. It's Konami, who knows? But if I'm going to be playing someone on Xbox and they're not going to have haptic feedback and adaptive triggers, is it a disadvantage to myself to use it? You know, it's like Call of Duty. If you try using the adaptive triggers and stuff online, it feels great and all with the vibrations and the rumble. But when you're playing someone online and it's crossplay and they're not on the PS5 and they're not using the haptic feedback, etc., it's a disadvantage. So I'll use it offline. I'm just wondering, you know, can you turn it off? Because I don't even know if it will be an advantage if you play someone who hasn't got it on another console. Mobile aren't going to have it, Xbox aren't going to have it, etc. PC aren't going to have it. So that was just a thought that came to my mind. Right, let's move on. So Kimura also reveals some of the other differences players will see when playing eFootball on top-end hardware. So here we go. Here's the juicy stuff for you guys. While the core game engine is the same for console and mobile, and that's where it's I don't know, a little bit worrying, I would say. We're working to ensure the best gameplay experience on each platform. Next-gen consoles and high-performance PCs allow us to devote more resources to gameplay, so we've included a variety of elements that are not possible on mobile, such as 3D lawns, woohoo, spectators' realistic movement, cross-processing of moving kits, rich lighting, and motion blur. This is something that cannot be achieved on a mobile device. Right, well, I think, you know, motion blur surely can be enabled on a mobile device. Now, well, let's read the end part here before we get into it. The sound, which is important for creating a stadium atmosphere, as we know, has been reconstructed from scratch, and the cheers and the size of the crowd will add to the excitement of the game too. There you go. The sound's been redone. Beautiful. Well, we know that PES has always struggled in the sound department. Right, so my biggest thing here is the core game engine is the same for mobile and console, and I spoke about this on the podcast and, you know, with Vern and the Midnight Kid, and I just can't see how you're going to get a true next-gen experience still if you're having the console literally running off the same engine as the mobile. You know, we've already played the stability test on the PS5 and the PS4 and all that. And to me, it was a mobile game. And if that's going to be the core gameplay, I'm still very concerned that we're going to be playing... We are still literally playing a mobile, because as far as I'm concerned, if it's going to play on the mobile, it's got to play exactly the same on console. So how are you getting more than a mobile experience? I don't know. We'll find out, and I keep saying we'll find out, because one day we will. I just don't see, especially when they confirm it here, the core game engine is the same. I don't think that sounds good. You let me know. What do you think? Do you really think it's possible to have different gameplay? And what I'm talking about here is like animations. I'm talking about having that next-gen experience. Not going to happen when mobile's involved, because it just doesn't work that way. You know what I mean? Anyway, let's move on a little bit. So, Kimura stresses that some of these features will not be included at the time of release, as we know, and will be implemented in a future update. I would like to know what Konami have been doing, though, for the last 2 years still. You know what I mean? To drop like a bare bones demo that's coming out for us very soon. What have they been doing for the last few years? I don't know. Hopefully the plan that they've got is going to work out for them, because if it doesn't, they are going to lose a lot of customers, and it's going to be a shame for, you know, a series that's been so, for me, such a, you know, a childhood memory. I've grown up playing PES, and I don't know. Anyway, speaking more broadly about the gameplay experience, Kimura says that, in his personal opinion, the most interesting gameplay difference between eFootball on the Unreal Engine and previous PES titles on the old engine is the one-on-one battling between an attacker and a defender. So that's the one thing. That's it. That's what we're looking forward to, folks. One-on-one battling between attacker and defender is what you needed to get a new engine. Come on, there's got to be way more than that. So they brought in Iniesta and PK as their gameplay advisors and asked them for their advice. It doesn't sound... It never sounds well put, though, does it? We asked PK and we asked Iniesta for their advice. Come on, Konami. You've been making football games for decades now. You know how to do it. Just watch TV. I don't know why you have to ask professionals. How do you play football? Well, we all know. Just watch the game. Learn it. So, we made a big decision to change the controls that people are used to. But it made the battle for the ball more realistic and more reflective of the user's skill. So there's confirmation as well, folks, that a big decision to change the controls that people are used to. Now, I've got nothing against change. Nothing against change. We're all going to have to get used to that at some point. But it's getting rid of things that didn't need to get rid of. Now, I don't know if that just means here that because they've added that kind of... Remember, they've changed it now where, like, R2 is sprint. I mean, that kind of stuff. But are they talking about the removal of, you know, teammate press? The removal of, like, teammate runs and stuff? I'm hoping not, because it will feel like a very dumbed-down game if that's been the case. As always, we'll find out shortly. So, moving on, we also worked on the match camera, right? So, if you did play the stability test, there was that new camera they had. Well, they're calling it the Duel, okay? The Duel camera. As the name suggests, we developed to allow players to enjoy the 1v1 battles that are the focus of this title. So, their focus for eFootball, folks, is not the football itself. It's the one-on-one dueling battles. What are we playing here? Mortal Kombat? I mean... I know football is a team game and all, and there are one-on-ones, and taking players on is fun, but how many players really take players on 1v1? You know, it's a team game. You know, you're pinging the ball around. If you're Harry Kane, for instance, doesn't want to go training right now because he's had enough of it, doesn't really take on a ton of players. A lot of stuff for him is the hold-up play. I'd rather they focus on the actual element of the team game and everything sort of gelling together, players moving off the ball, than just 1v1s. That just sound... I don't know, maybe that just wasn't worded well. Anyway, in situations where we are building up from the defensive line, you can see a wide area from a perspective similar to that of a conventional camera. It seamlessly switches to a closer view as the winger on the side has the ball or approaches the opponent's penalty area. You can enjoy the delicate touch of the ball, feinting to deceive your opponent, defending with your body, or blocking a shot at the last second. Now, my only problem with this camera, and obviously you can turn it off, so I'm not really going to complain about it. You know, it's an extra camera, that's a plus. But the problem with that is, I saw what happened, and it's nice that it does kind of zoom in. It is kind of a cool camera. It's like an action camera. That's basically what it is, like a racing game. It's an action camera. But when it zooms in that close, remember, you can't really see a whole lot of what's going on the other side of the field, so you'll have to use the radar a lot. But okay, it's more of an action camera. This is just something that if you wanted to use it. I personally myself might not. I'll play with it, I'll test it out. But ultimately, I want to see more of the field. Right, and then basically just to finish off, while eFootball is built to span across various powers of hardware, it's clear that there are plenty of extra benefits for those playing on next-gen consoles and PC. Now, those players will have to take early gameplay with a pinch of salt, though, as they say, or a pinch of salt, not a grain of salt, as those features will not be ready to go straight away on the eFootball release. And that's still my thing, like, how is that going to work? I still don't know. It's still confusing to me, like, you're going to start adding next-gen content later on down the road. How's that going to affect the other platforms and all that stuff? I don't know. But anyway, that is the article, folks. You let me know what you make of it. Some of you have already probably seen it. I just wanted to kind of put it out there for those that haven't seen it. I'm still a little bit on the fence about this whole, the core game engine is the same. And it's like, well, we're on a next-gen console. I don't want to be playing with mobile gameplay. And it's not even the graphics now. I don't even care about the visuals. It's the gameplay, ultimately. Has to be a next-gen. But I just don't feel like we're going to get a true next-gen until, I don't know, a miracle happens. Anyway, we'll find out. I'll see you guys shortly. Remember, Master League tomorrow, Europa League. Let me know what you think about this article, and we will return. If you find any more news, let me know. Hit me up on Twitter. And until next time, take care.